Craft Coast Canning decorates, fills, and distributes aluminum cans for craft beverage producers on both sides of the border. But since the only cans produced in Canada are the 355 milliliter standard size, the company has to import tall boy or slim cans, mostly from the U.S. Cans that are made from aluminum the U.S. has often imported from Canada. So it can be a lot of back and forth across the border.
Depending on the day, we could be packaging lemonade, iced tea, cider, beer, wine.
Co-founder James Ponting says the 25% tariffs imposed on aluminum earlier this spring resulted in about a 10% increase in costs. And now, with tariffs doubled to 50%, they're expecting another 10 to 15% increase. But that's not his biggest concern.
The biggest risk that I see is how Canada responds. So far, cans have been exempt from any retaliatory tariffs coming back into Canada, and I think that is reflecting an acknowledgement from the Canadian government that we do not have the capability to produce domestically enough for our own consumption. So if the Canadian government decides to respond with increasing tariffs on more items and includes aluminum cans in those suite of goods, that could have a much larger impact to the costs that we have to pay, that the brands have to pay, and ultimately the consumer will have to pay for whether it's a can of soda, kombucha, beer, cider, whatever it is. You could be looking at 25 to 50 cents more per can at the retail level.
Premier Susan Holt has talked a lot about the support the New Brunswick government has for businesses. Have you tapped into any of those supports?
So we've had conversations with various agencies within the province of New Brunswick. So far, what we've found is that a lot of the funding that was announced for tariff support was already funds that were allocated for economic development in the region, so it's not a lot of new funding. We've not been made aware of any specific programs that are designed to help businesses respond to the changing conditions of tariffs or the uncertainty around tariffs. We have been made aware that there might be some eligibility for loans from the provincial government. However, those loans would bear interest. And if, my opinion would be is that that's not the solution. I mean, if businesses are struggling, potentially running losses in the short term while they learn how to pivot around this, borrowing money and paying interest is really just pushing the problem farther down the road. We're not actually solving the root cause, which is that we need to invest in building capability in New Brunswick and in Canada. Both the provincial and the federal government need to be creating conditions that can give businesses more certainty. I would encourage them, rather than responding with knee-jerk reactions and retaliatory tariffs, to invest in the longer-term, bigger picture of how we're going to create a stable economy here in Canada, create more capability here in Canada, and get Canadians and New Brunswickers focused on that vision for the future, rather than knee-jerk reactions to the whims of an administration that is having their own set of challenges and changes that they're dealing with.
You've been passionate about being a New Brunswick business. If nothing changes, can you see you having to move your business elsewhere?
Absolutely. 100%, there'd be no choice but to move somewhere else.